Hey, what's going on, everybody? Leigh here. Welcome back to another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. On this episode, I just want to give my opinion on this dream match super fight between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor that's going down tonight, August 26th at 9 p.m. live on pay-per-view. It is right now about 6:45 in the morning Eastern time, so you just got about over 14 hours or so before the bell time for the main card of Mayweather-McGregor. I just want to give my opinion on it. I'm not here to give you a prediction. It's not why I'm here. I just want to give you my opinion on this whole media circus surrounding these two premier athletes and this super fight, this dream match. But, before we get into all that, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. You can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on YouTube under Leigh Beats and Speaks, my official website, LeighTDickey.com. The Beats and Speaks podcast is also available on Apple Podcasts and iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and wherever else podcasts are available. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get into this whole Mayweather-McGregor super fight, my opinion, sort of type thing. All right, so here we go. Mayweather-McGregor, arguably the greatest athletes in their respective sports, okay? Mayweather for boxing, obviously, he is 49-0 as of this recording, and McGregor, who is a beast in the UFC, and that's basically where he made his name. A two-division champion in the UFC, a premier mixed martial artist, and these two are going to go at it tonight, August 26th, live on pay-per-view at 9 o'clock. And you know what? If you are one of those people that's going to order the fight or you're going to go see it, you have plans to see this fight, good for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a good time. But for me, to be quite honest, I think this whole thing is a circus. It is a media circus surrounding two premier athletes. I'm not going to deny that these two, Mayweather and McGregor, are just the cream of the crop when it comes to their sports and the fact that they fight for a living, okay? Not everybody can do what they do, and they do it supremely, supremely well. I'm not knocking either of these men. I just think that it's a total circus. And I get that. It's promotion, you're plugging a fight, but in my opinion, you could sell this fight on their name alone. Their names have that kind of weight and that kind of value that you don't have to jaw jack back and forth for the majority of the year. The thing is, they're doing that. That's exactly what they're doing. And that's just one of the things that gets on my nerves. When fighters or athletes just decide, hey, let's go at each other, either because they legitimately don't like each other, or this is just to sell tickets or a pay-per-view, which is exactly what they're doing. I'm not a big fan of guys that want to just jaw jack at each other as build-up for the fight. If you could sell the fight just on their names alone, do that, I mean, I get that with talent comes ego, right? Some might say arrogance, but with talent comes ego, and both these guys are supremely talented, thus have massive egos. And I understand that, okay? And they're just trying to sell a fight. I guarantee they're both going to walk away with a fortune. And I'm sure this isn't about the money, but, I mean, you don't need to jaw jack at each other. That's my point. I've always been a fan of combat sports, mixed martial arts, boxing. I've done some boxing and some martial arts myself, but I'm more of a fan of the guys that will leave it all in the ring. They don't have to talk, they don't say much, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna put my head down, I'm gonna give her, and I'm gonna leave it all out there. You know what I mean? I don't have to say a whole lot. I'm just gonna go in there and punch the guy in the face, right? I'm just gonna go in there and fight my fight. I'm gonna try my hardest to get the win. That's the kind of fight that I like. I don't like the giant build-up that comes with fights like McGregor, Mayweather, or Mayweather-Pacquiao, Mayweather-Marquez, Tyson Holyfield. I'm not sure what the buildup was like for Ali Foreman, but I just don't like huge buildups where these guys just jaw jack at each other for the majority of a year, and just as build up for the fight, just to sell tickets. Like I said earlier, you could just sell this fight on their names alone. Okay? Like, they're both supremely talented individuals and supremely talented athletes. Let's leave it at that. I'm ready for this whole thing to be over because from what I've seen, these guys are picking fights with everybody that comes in contact, everybody that says something to them and says something about them. It just doesn't look, I don't know, it just doesn't look good in my opinion. But let's just get them in the ring and let's just let them fight. You know, I'm ready for this fight to go down and I'm ready for it to be over, even though it's going down tonight, Saturday, August 26th, live on pay-per-view at 9 o'clock. I guarantee you, everybody's going to be talking about this for a while. Okay? Come Monday morning, you're going to be talking about this at the water cooler with Susie from accounting or whoever's going to listen, or Jim, the vice president of the company. Everybody's going to be talking about this fight. Win, lose, or split decision, draw, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's going to be talking about the fight and how it went. To be honest, I'm not into the whole circus that this whole thing is. Okay? And I can't wait for it to be over. So, let's just let them fight. I know we have just about 14 hours or so before bell time, before the main card, and this whole thing goes down. Like I said, I'm not going to give you a prediction. That's not why I'm here. I just want to give you guys my opinion. I mean, I've said this countless times already. These guys are supreme athletes, arguably the best in their sport. Mayweather is arguably the best boxer to come out in the last 20 years. He's never lost a fight, 49-0. And McGregor is a 2-division champion in the UFC. So clearly, they're doing things right when it comes to their respective careers, okay? So, and this is a boxing match. People have said Mayweather is the odds-on favorite, but there are those that say McGregor's gonna take this one. You know what? It really doesn't matter to me either way. I just want to, not that I want to see the fight. I mean, I may catch the highlights, but I just want this whole thing to be over. Let people talk about it, whatever. But this is basically my opinion on the whole circus that the buildup has been over like the past year or so. Like taking these guys on a world tour just to sell this fight where they're obviously both going to make a fortune does not make sense to me. I don't get it. It's just, don't get me wrong, I am a huge fan of combat sports and boxing, but it's just when you have to jaw jack at each other and trade insults and man, like it just takes away from the fight. Like, I love the big fight atmosphere, but let's save it for the ring. You know what I mean? Like, Mayweather's come out of retirement like, what, 2-3 times by now? And McGregor got a boxing license and he's like, you know what, I'll meet you to Mayweather. I'll meet you in your element, which is exactly what's happening. They're meeting in a boxing ring on pay-per-view. It just, but when it comes down to it, they're both master salesmen. They're both master showmen. They're both entertainers. And they both understand that aspect, and you're trying to sell a fight, but you're also trying to be entertaining a little bit, right? Which I understand, but at the end of the day, they're both fighters. If you're going to fight. Leave it all in the ring and call it a day. I'm going to say this again, but I'm more of a fan of the fighters who don't say much, who will just put their head down, go fight, leave it all in the ring, and when it's all said and done, say, you know what, thank you, good fight, thanks for the fight. Whether you win or lose, you can have your head held high and just have, like, you can just take, I suppose, you can say, you know what, I did that. I fought somebody like a Floyd Mayweather, or I fought somebody like a Conor McGregor, or whoever it is. You could just say, you know what, I did that. Okay, that's a part of my career. Let's go back to real life now. But when it comes to these two, I will give them all the credit in the world for what they've done in their respective sports. Okay? It's not easy to be a 2-division champion in the UFC. It's not easy to be a professional fighter or a professional athlete anyway. I'll give them all the credit in the world. I just don't like the way they're going about the build-up, where it's like, we need to insult each other, or we need to get into each other's faces just to sell this fight. I've said this countless times in this episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. You don't need to do that. You could have sold this fight just on their names because they are who they are. Okay? They're both master showmen. They're both master entertainers. And they do understand the big fight feel and the big fight atmosphere. I understand that. Okay? But when you have to jaw jack at each other and take everybody on a world tour just to sell tickets for this fight, because why? I just don't get it. You know, you want people to sell them. They're already invested. They were already invested when this whole thing was announced. Okay? They have enough buzz. You don't need to take them on a world tour. You don't need to jaw jack at each other. Just let's have them go through their camps and their training camps. Let's have them get ready for the fight, put them in the ring, and see what happens. Win, lose, or draw. Okay? Let's see what happens. The boxing purists are saying Mayweather's got this one. The MMA fans and critics and just, fight critics in general. What if McGregor takes this one? Right? Some people are saying that. I'm not one of them. I'm not one I've never been a big fan of either of them, really. But, it's the big fight atmosphere, right? And they're both master salesmen. Because, you know what it is? They're both great on the mic. They really are. They're both great promo guys. I remember seeing Mayweather's match at WrestleMania 24 in Orlando with the Big Show, and the build up to that match was phenomenal because Mayweather really understands the art of promotion and the big fight atmosphere. He gets it. He understands the entertainment aspect of the business. And I think the same goes for McGregor. He understands that this is entertainment, but at the end of the day, they're going to fight and basically punch each other in the face. Okay? Don't get me wrong. When I first heard that this fight was going to go down, there was a small part of me that was just like, you know what, this would be interesting. Now that it is going down and I've seen the build-up and the way it's going, I'm ready for it to be over because I think the build-up has just dragged on and they're trading insults back and forth and getting in each other's faces. I understand it's the money fight, the big fight, this dream match between these two gladiators and Goliaths of their respective sports, but I'm that guy that just says, let's get him in the ring. I know the fight goes down tonight at 9:00 on pay-per-view, but I'm already ready for it to be over. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter to me. But I do wonder, who do you guys have to win this fight, Mayweather or McGregor? You a boxing fan? You a mixed martial arts fan? Which one is it? Who do you have to win this fight? Mayweather, McGregor. Fight goes down tonight, live on pay-per-view at 9:00 from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. And my opinion, let's just get him in the ring. Let's let him fight. And whatever happens, happens. I'm sure it's going to be a good fight because, these two are master. You know what? Who knows? Conor McGregor may surprise us all and be the first and only person to win over Floyd Mayweather. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Nobody's perfect, right? Even though Mayweather is 49-0, and I think that's the thing about me. I will always take the underdog, where it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because what happens, right? There is always a first time for everything. Mayweather could lose. But I think, and I was talking about this with a friend of mine, I think the only way Mayweather loses is if he gets knocked out. But I don't really see that happening because, he's 49-0. And the majority of his wins, I think 26 of his 49 victories have come by way of knockout. So who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm not going to give you a prediction because it doesn't matter to me either way who wins. I'm just ready for this whole thing to be over and done with. Okay? It's the big fight atmosphere. These guys are masters of their sports. Conor for MMA. And obviously Mayweather for boxing. He's arguably the greatest fighter to come out within the last 20 years. And I don't think anybody's ever had the run that he has. That's a 20-year winning streak with a couple retirements in there, I think. But when you can go undefeated for 20 years, that says something about how well you work and how well you grasp the sport of boxing as a whole, right? When you're 49-0, that's got to say something for the people you have in your camp, your conditioning for one thing, and like the fact that, well, he obviously knows what he's doing, right? If you can go 49-0, you got to be doing something right. And McGregor to be a 2-division champion in the UFC, again, got to be doing something right. So who knows what's going to happen? I will probably catch the highlights later tonight or even into the early parts of tomorrow morning. Like I said, it's early here in the Eastern time zone where I live in Toronto, Canada. It's just after 7 o'clock right now, and you're just about 14 hours from bell time on the main card of Mayweather-McGregor, which goes down tonight, August 26th, live on pay-per-view at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So, one last thing. Who do you guys have to win this fight, if at all? Okay? You have McGregor, you have Mayweather. Who's going to take it? Who do you have? Let me know, all right? But thanks for listening to this episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast with Leigh Dickey. I have been your host, Leigh Dickey. Remember that you can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on YouTube under Leigh Dickey Beats and Speaks. You can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, my official website, LeighTDickey.com, and everywhere else podcasts are available. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for listening. But that's it for another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast with Leigh Dickey. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Who do you guys have to win the fight between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather? Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, let me know. All right. Subscribe and write a review of the podcast. Subscribe to Leigh Dickey Beats and Speaks on YouTube. And we will see you all and talk to you all in the next one. All right. This is Leigh Dickey for LeighTDickey.com, the Beats and Speaks podcast. Leigh Dickey Beats and Speaks on YouTube and everywhere else that you can find Leigh Dickey on. So you can also find me on social media under all my social media links are at Leigh T. Dickey. So remember that you should follow me. Links will be in the description. But that's it for another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. I have been Leigh Dickey, your host. Remember that you can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on YouTube under Leigh Dickey Beats and Speaks, on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and everywhere else podcasts are available. I hope you guys enjoy the fight if you're going to go see it, or well, if you're in Vegas and you're going to see the fight live, good for you. And if you have plans to see it, whether you're going to order it or go to a bar or something that carries the fight tonight, have fun. And you know what? That's it for another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast with Leigh Dickey. I suppose we will talk to you guys and see you guys in the next one. All right. This is Leigh Dickey signing off. Peace.